Instagram. It's Punk Rock Talk, episode 3. Today, my guests are going to be Rotten Stitches. We're super excited to have them on here. I got a lot of questions I'm going to ask them. Right now, you're listening to Punching Through Windows, the title track off of their latest record. You can listen to this record on Spotify. Some of the songs are on our Rebellion Noise 2022 playlist. We update the playlist every week on Monday with artists that we're going to be featuring on this show. This week we've updated it with Rotten Stitches, the Casualties, the Stolen Wheelchairs, who are going to be going on the All Out tour next month, as well as some other favorites that we've picked. Before I get those guys on here, I wanted to let all of you know that you can now watch these episodes on the Havoc's YouTube channel. We just uploaded them today, and we will be uploading these episodes the following day of their live stream here. So every Thursday, they'll be uploaded to our YouTube channel. You can search for us on YouTube. And if you're not subscribed yet, do that, because there is a lot of new content coming from the Havoc that's going to be posted there soon. You don't want to miss that. Also, I did an interview last week. It was put up on streaming services by Put the Stress Down podcast. You can find that on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. I want to thank Mookie of Extended Family Apparel for having me on. So if you haven't heard that yet, check it out. Also, this show is brought to you by Dead and Buried Inc. That's Dead and Buried INC, not INK. If your band needs merchandise of any kind, reach out to them. You can find their Instagram profile. They also have a website. You can just Google it, Dead and Buried Inc. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and get Rotten Stitches on here. If you have questions for them or myself, there is your screen. Just press that. You can submit your questions there, and then we will answer them throughout the show. All right, I've got the invitation sent, so just waiting for those guys to join. They'll be here momentarily. 40 Fest. That's one thing we're going to be talking about on this episode. Just happened in Atlanta over the weekend. Of course, Rotten Stitches played. And although we were going to announce who the replacement for the Lower Class Brats was on this show last week, it didn't happen because Bill did not have a confirmed band. He did earlier in the day, and then just before the show started, they backed out, so we weren't able to announce it. But he was able to announce it right after the show. The Queers played. Pretty awesome. Okay, it says Rotten Stitches are unable to join. Let me send that invite one more time. They might be having an internet problem. Wait, here we go. Your request, go live with Rotten Stitches. Here we go. Nothing yet. They might be having internet problems. Here we go.
There we go.
Hey, guys.
What's up, man?
What's up, MTV Cribs?
How you guys doing?
Good, man. How are you?
Oh, man, I'm great. Thanks for joining me and being on the show.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for having us.
No
Thanks
problem.
for having us.
You guys have been really, really active. Not just lately, but you're celebrating your 10-year anniversary. Congratulations on that.
Thank you. Thank you.
There may be people watching that aren't familiar with the band or might just be getting into the band now or just hearing about you. So I'd like to kind of go back to the beginning so people can get familiar with who you are and your story.
Cool, for sure. Fun story. So we go back 10 years. Obviously, we're celebrating that. I was sitting in my parents' garage one day, and Jake just walked up, and he just got out of jail, and he had nowhere else to go.
I walked to his house from the jail.
Wow.
So, and for reference, why we knew each other is me and him met in the principal's office in like 6th grade. So that's how we met. But yeah, he showed up from jail. He had nowhere else to go. And he stayed with me for a couple weeks. And then we just decided to start a band. And it took us a while. Jake ended up going back to jail.
Yeah.
In that time, I got in a really bad car accident.
Smashed his face through a windshield.
Yeah, basically went through the windshield.
I nursed him back to health when I got out of jail.
He did. He came in and stayed with me again, and I got better. But in that time, I started writing music. So
I wrote a bunch of lyrics while I was in jail too.
So yeah, that's kind of how it started. It took us a while to find a drummer, though. So in me healing and everything, we finally found a drummer, and then he stayed with us for maybe a year or so, but that kind of got us off the ground. And then, yeah, we just started hitting it hard, man. I mean, as annoying as it may have been, or maybe not even beneficial for us, sometimes we were playing local shows like 3 times a week. Just anyone that would let us play.
We went hard when we first started. We really tried to just get ourselves out there as much as possible.
And 10 years later, here we are. It's me and him are the only originals. But Clay's been with us. Clay's our drummer. He's been with us for about 7 years. And Laramie for 5
years. And my brother just joined us over COVID, and he's on rhythm guitar. And this is our first time being a 5-piece again in 8 years.
Wow.
So it's like really just put a whole new dynamic to our sound and we wanted to start this new album fresh as a 5-piece. So it's written as a 5-piece.
Very cool. And I'm sorry if I missed it, but did you guys say that you were friends before you went to jail?
Yeah, we go back to middle school.
Okay, so that's where you guys
sit in the
school.
Yeah, we literally in the principal's office.
Yeah, that's how we met. He gave me some cigarettes in the stairwell, and I think I was wearing like a fucking Casualties shirt or Lower Class Brats or something like that shirt, and he was like, "Hey man, you know those guys?" And I was like, "Yeah, man." He's like, "Take some cigarettes," you know. Badass middle school kids, you know.
I'd never seen anyone else. Like, it was me and, like my 1 or 2 other friends. So it was cool. And then he left, and I didn't see him for years. I never knew what happened to him or anything. And we linked up at a skate park or something. We started going to shows together.
Yeah, my family had a lot of financial problems, and we ended up like moving away and lost contact for a couple years until the story we just told about going to jail and shit.
It's crazy how that happens in life. People can kind of weave in and out, but they serve some kind of purpose, and you don't necessarily know it at the time when you're meeting them. And then next thing you know, boom, it's like this. Like you guys have this long history together as best friends and in a band together. It's really cool.
Absolutely, man.
What got you guys into punk rock?
What got us into punk rock?
Yeah.
Tony Hawk Underground 2 soundtrack. We grew up around it, man. Like when me and Jordan were kids, there's a whole skate crew. Everyone was skateboarding back then, listening to punk rock. So just naturally, we just found it. Now all those dudes are still around and still support us and stuff too.
For me, though, it's kind of funny. I guess like you said, kind of from playing like Tony Hawk and shit, I'd heard a little bit of punk.
You hear the songs.
But for me, I was on the bus one day, and me and my buddy that we like skated together, but we just met. And we were like fooling around moshing and shit on the bus. And shout out Johnny. He stopped, and he was like, "No way what you're listening to is that fast." And And he was right. I was listening to like fucking Metallica or some shit. I don't remember, but I was just going along with him. We're having fun, and he was like, "Get off at my stop," and I did. I went to his house, and or no, I'm sorry. He let me listen to what he was listening to. He's listening to Clip 45, and I was like, "Whoa!" I was like, "Show me more." And he's like, "Get off at my stop." So I went to his house, and he showed me everything, and I went home and fucking it was it. That was it.
Johnny's cool as shit. He drummed with us for a little bit too. After our first drummer, he was our second drummer for a handful of shows.
And that was probably when I was like 12, so maybe 11, something like that. But yeah, it was just kind of gifted to me from a good friend. So, and it was just exactly what I was looking for. You know, both my parents are alcoholics and shit, and cops busting in all the time to get my brother on warrants and shit like that. And it was just like, it was what I was searching for. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah, it's something that resonates with you as soon as you hear it. I totally get it.
Yeah.
What's the name Rotten Stitches about? How did that come together? What's it mean?
We couldn't figure out a name. And
there's an easy answer to this, and there's a deep answer to this. The fun one, when we were The Stitches, and then we were The Stitches for like, I think, our first year, and we actually played our first show. Our first big show was with the Casualties and Negative Approach in 2012, and we were The Stitches on the flyer. And the actual band from California, The Stitches, hit us up, and they were like, "Hey, man, you guys kind of need to change your name."
Yeah.
And so we ended up playing with The Stitches like a year after that in Oakland. We Roll Fest, but we were Rotten Stitches. But
when we were like, well, fuck, we're kind of known as The Stitches in our Atlanta scene. You know what I mean? Like, that's what we've been playing as. So we're like, we got to keep Stitches. And it was just...
It's going to be Infected Stitches.
It was going to be Infected Stitches or Rotten Stitches. And we're like, well, Rotten Stitches kind of flows. And the Stitches also comes from, we couldn't figure out a name, but me and Jake were always getting fucking stitches. So that's how that came upon. It used to be a joke. We'd laugh like,
it's your turn.
Your turn to go to the hospital. You know? So that's kind of how that happened.
Right on. Were the Stitches like cool to you guys when you played with them the following year?
Yeah, we joked about it. We had a good laugh.
Cool.
Yeah, I don't even remember talking to. I don't know if they even remembered that, but
I doubt they do.
Right.
They were probably just like, "Oh, look at these little punk kids. Change your name."
Well, you guys have released 3 records at this point, and if you listen to them, you can hear a whole range of influences. And like some of that I think is probably because of member changes, based on certain styles, like especially in the drums. But tell me about what bands you're most influenced by and why.
You want to drop some names?
I mean, for me, it's definitely going to be that like late 90s, early 2000s street punk, like, you know, all this shit, Global Threat, Unseen, all those bands.
Monster Squad,
yeah. Crumb Bums, the Casualties, you know, growing up, Casualties were always one of my favorites.
Recently, like, got into some Defied, was a good influence for us for this upcoming album. Listen to a lot of them.
And what about non-punk influences that aren't necessarily like influences for the band sound, but just maybe your own style as far as being a guitarist or a vocalist?
It's funny. I get asked a lot if I listen to metal a lot. I don't. Before I got into punk, I was listening to like Motorhead. I listened to a lot of Motorhead back when I was younger, and Slayer and Metallica. And I had a cousin. He kind of was showing me all that stuff before I found punk. And but I don't know what really influences my playing. Honestly, it's just, for one, it's just been getting better over the years, and
you can hear the evolution through our 3 albums.
Yeah, you can hear it in the record.
It's, the first album is just so stupid raw, and that's what we asked for with the producer Ty. Shout out to Ty Watkins. He's also been our friend since back in the day. But yeah, we told him we wanted the first album to be raw, and he gave us raw. Second album, we tried giving a shit, but we were still recording in a punk house. You know, it wasn't a studio.
Well, also what he's referring to is that first album may not be what some people think is our first album, but we just put out, you can find it on Reverb Nation, I think is where it's up. It's just another recording of Crisis Control. But we also didn't care really that much. We were just getting drunk in really dark times of our lives, and just writing, like, just pissed. We were just pissed and just writing shit. And I was just like, if I could get a couple chords together, or, you know, 3 chords and a chorus, then that was good. So he came out of jail with, he didn't have to like write any lyrics for the first like 6 songs, because he came out of jail with lyrics.
Yeah.
So
yeah, those were definitely some dark days, and we're just, we didn't think that we would be, we did not think that we would still be doing this shit today. But a lot has happened between then and now.
But I think everything that comes out from us it's just the emotions. It's just whatever we're all going through at that time is what comes out. And with that just came getting better at playing music, pretty much learning how to play music and put songs together. And I think that's why it's getting better. And when I write music, it's really based around whatever I'm listening to at that time. So, but I don't remember 6 months or a year, 10 years ago, what I was listening to that month when I wrote that song, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So it's a hard question for me to answer. It really is.
Well,
there's a lot of influence.
For anybody that wants to hear your material, your old material, I found it on Bandcamp. So
yeah,
Crisis Control and No World Order are both on there. And Jake, one of the things that I thought was really cool is if you go back and you listen to those old records, your vocals seem even more heavy back then. Not that they're not like heavy aggressive now, but they're just deeper.
Kind of more guttural in a way.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about that, and like what influences your vocal style, you know, now versus then.
Yeah, well, admittedly, I was listening to a lot of D-Beat when we first started. And I was into a lot of like Dysphere and Piss Christ and, you know, shit like that. But we were a street punk band. I just was a kid developing my sound. And so the first 2 albums we released like within 4 years of each other. And then we took another 4 years to release Punching Through Mirrors.
Punk Rock Cat.
Fucking, God damn it, that's Trash Can.
Is that the cat's name? Trash Can?
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's great.
That's cool that you have some of those outside influences, though, because I think that it gives you a more distinct sound when you're not just like a carbon copy of other street punk vocalists before you.
Definitely wanted to develop my own vocal sound. Like, you know how street punk, how there's like vocalists that just have that signature sound, and I was like trying to find my signature sound in a way, I guess.
Right.
Like how David with Casualties, Crumb Bum, Starving Wolves, he's got that sound that, you know, you can't, you know, and A Global Threat, they had their signature sound. Every band has their own. And we wanted to have our own signature sound. So I guess that's how Rod Stitches developed to be and evolved to be what it is today.
And lyrically, like, what would you say is your biggest inspiration? Are you just writing about what's happening in your life with each record?
I guess so. And in a broader sense, like I try to keep a theme with each album. Punching Through Mirrors was a lot of like mental health awareness, and that, so like I said, it took us 4 years to release that one, and those were probably the hardest years. Yeah. Right there. Those were some dark times. That's why it took us so long to release it, but we still played every week. We're going through a lot of shit. So a lot of mental health awareness inspired my lyric writing with that one. And this upcoming album that we've been working on now since 2020, it's been like getting through like hardships, hard times, getting through it. And, you know, it's not how hard you fall, it's about how you pick yourself back up type shit. Yeah, that good old PMA.
You know,
I'm also sober and a dad now, so in a way I had to turn my life around.
Did you say that you're
and sober? So, yeah, from like hard drugs and shit. You know what I'm saying?
He's clean.
I'm clean. I'm, you know, obviously
not
drinking.
Sober.
Yeah, I'm not sober.
I love that you guys are mentioning mental health awareness. The last band I interviewed, Dead 77, their most recent record, same topic.
Demons,
right. And we released a song a few months back called Only Escape. Same thing, mental health awareness. And
yeah, man.
I think it's something that is super important, not just for the punk scene, but just humanity in general. And I love that we're living in an era now where people are starting to talk about it way more instead of thinking it's taboo.
We're living in a crazy time.
Yeah.
This is a crazy time that we're living in right now. And we're living it.
Yeah, undoubtedly. I don't think anyone has been prepared for what's been going on the last couple of years. And it's just been so taxing on everyone's mental health. But the fact that you guys have music out there that people can listen to, and hopefully it will encourage them, like whatever they're battling emotionally, mentally, like you can get through it. That's the real shit right there. Like, it's fun to write songs about being punk and getting drunk and whatever. But when there's a bigger message, that makes all the difference.
And that's exactly. It kind of goes back to what I was saying. Like, it's hard to say the influence because it's just what's going on. Our songs are emotions, and it absolutely is for everyone else to relate to and feel what I felt when I heard the music that got me to want to stick around, you know, and to give them somebody to come get some real aggression out with.
Just feel the raw anger behind it, you know?
Yeah, I think there's a reason why punk rock speaks to the people that get into the scene. We're all growing up in some instance where it's like we're looking for an outlet because of our mental health, whether we realize that or not at the time. And to be able to either just be a fan and get that aggression out at a show, or to start a band and get that aggression out by writing music, I think it's fucking rad that we're pushing more of that message now. Like, hey, it's okay to have these feelings about whatever's going on in your life. Let's use punk rock to unite over this and get to a better side of things in life. You mentioned the new record a couple of times, so I want to talk about that. Do you have a tentative title for the new record, and when can people expect it?
It's between two names.
We'll say no on the title.
Okay.
Not yet. It's between two song names. But.
So we don't have a definite date either, but we're finished writing. We just, like you mentioned earlier, this tour was announced pretty close to the start date. So we just kind of put all our focus towards that right now. And
we have all the songs for the album written. They're just not like polished. They're not studio ready. We're hoping after the tour with Casualties, we'll be able to get the studio soon.
We're hoping to be in the studio by summer. And then after that, it'll just be the process of pressing. So realistically, we're hoping by the end of the year, but it may be early 2023.
Are you working with a different record label for this one?
We've been talking with Kurt with Dismantled Records. Shout out Kurt. He's been to Kurt with Dismantled Records. He was at Punksmith Fest. We played at in Houston, and he was at 40 Fest here in Atlanta last weekend. Yeah, he's a real rad dude, but he might be working with him. We're talking with him about that, and we're just gonna kind of see what happens.
Cool. I want to take a second here to see what questions have been submitted by the audience. So let me pull that up real quick. Okay. Smutter Band says, what's the most memorable show you played and why?
I don't remember a lot of them. Honestly, I think if you would have asked me last week, I would have said, fuck you, Rule 2019.
Uh-huh.
And that's because we kind of got on that last minute. And
just at the store.
And it was just awesome. Like it was just a great crowd. Fuck You Rule is always so fun, but it was just so many bands that I got to share the stage with. You know what I mean? So to me, that was really cool.
Yeah.
But you asked me this today, and I would say 40 Fest.
Yeah. As far as local Atlanta shows, this past weekend at 40 Fest was the biggest Atlanta show that we have played in a long time. That was fucking awesome. Thank you, Bill.
Yeah, shout out to Bill. He seems like he has a huge heart for the Atlanta scene. And obviously 40 Fest wouldn't be a thing if it weren't for him. So shout out to Bill. Let's talk about that though for a second. Your set at 40 Fest, was it what you expected? Did it go over as well as you had hoped, or any issues there?
Yeah.
How was it?
I think it exceeded expectations. Like, I wasn't sure if it was going to be that, like a success, but it ended up, just about cut even, and everyone had a good time, and there was no fighting,
That's huge.
It was friends from all around the country. Yeah, right. There's friends from all around the country that came out and hung out, and everyone had a good time. And it was one of the coldest fucking days all winter, too.
Yeah. It was super cool just seeing everyone in the crowd from all over, all my friends that I haven't seen in a long time, But, yeah, and just the size of the crowd that was there in Atlanta, and having these bands like Monster Squad and Starving Wolves play. It's just something that Atlanta hasn't seen in a while. We had like that loaded of a show, the Horribles from Florida, Moose Knuckle. I mean, every band killed it.
Every band.
So, the Queers, awesome. It was fucking awesome. You know what I mean? So, and the crowd was wild and all for every band. So yeah, the set was fucking great, but also just that it was happening here in Atlanta is what made it even cooler, you know.
You guys refer to Atlanta as Hate City. To anybody that's watching that has no idea what that means, can you explain it?
If I were to give you the best answer that I could come up with, I think it's because everyone's so pissed off in Atlanta. Everyone's just got to stick up their ass. They're fucking douchebags everywhere. But I don't know. It goes back since before the night. Like in the '90s, there was a whole punk crew. And then it died out for a long time, and we picked it back up from the ground from where it was. And there's just a lot of metal at the time, and not a lot of punks. So we grabbed the name Hate City and made it Hate City Punks. Ran with it.
But I'm sure plenty of people were still calling it Hate City at the time.
Yeah,
but yeah, we
it was
just
a thing.
Took Hate City Punks and ran with it. But yeah, we didn't coin that name at all. But yeah, everyone's pissed off in Atlanta.
I've heard over the years through the touring market that theft has been a huge issue in Atlanta over the years. Bands having their gear stolen or their trailers stolen. Is that still a huge problem there, or has that calmed down?
Oh no. Oh, it's fucking dangerous as shit out here, dude. There's people get robbed every day, like right around the corner from you all the time.
Yeah, unfortunately, like Greg Warwick from Wrecked
Tank Rats.
Tank Rats, the last 40 Fest in 2020, he lost a lot of shit.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely still a problem, and it fucking sucks, but that's what it is. So maybe we're Hate City because everyone hates us. I don't know.
That's what goes back to everyone's pissed off. Everyone's robbing each other out here.
Yeah, so if you're in a touring band and going through Atlanta, keep an eye on your gear.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But I think that should be said. I mean,
you should always watch your gear anyways, but yeah. It's
you guys have mentioned a couple of times the upcoming tour with the Casualties and the Stolen Wheelchairs. Let's talk about that a little bit. How did that come up for you guys?
Oh, well, we played with Stolen Wheelchairs probably like a couple months ago. I booked them at Highlander here in Atlanta, and it was mentioned, and we were talking about it. And Casualty's booking agent just gave me a call one day, and he was talking. We were talking about it, but it was on a standstill for probably like it was
felt like forever.
It felt like forever, and we were just waiting for him to be like, "Yes, it's happening," but because unfortunately COVID was hurting the venues, but it ended up happening, and they're all being announced like every day. Is another show is being announced. So it was on standstill for I want to say like 2 months. We couldn't say anything about it, and we're just holding it in our back pocket, like please happen, you know. But yeah, very last minute, I got the phone call and I called Jordan immediately, and I was like, dude, it's fucking happening. And we freaked out for a minute, and then we're like, okay, this is cool. We got a lot of work to do.
So the anxiety of that must have been excruciating.
Yeah.
There's, some smaller venues on this tour, which I actually think is really cool because it just, punk rock in a smaller venue is always just a lot more rowdy. Are there any venues that you are looking forward to playing in particular?
Philly and Tampa is going to be cool. And I can imagine that playing New York with the Casualties is going to be pretty fucking badass. I think we have 3 New York dates on this tour.
Honestly, I haven't really checked out the venues much. I'll be honest. I'm just stoked to be playing.
Well, you guys are
We're just rolling with.
the first date of the tour is in Tulsa, at Mercury Lounge, and that place is like a couple hundred capacity.
We're not playing that show.
We're starting in Detroit.
Oh, you guys aren't going to be on that one.
No, we're starting in Detroit after Sounds of the Streets. We were going to play Sounds of the Streets, but Jordan's playing the Fatskins reunion show in Arizona.
Gotcha.
With his other band, Strike.
Gotcha.
So, but Stolen Wheelchairs is also jumping on. They're playing the Chicago Fest, Sounds of the Streets, and they're starting. So, so other bands will be on this first. I think it's 4 dates with the Casualties. Shout out Gen Y. I think they're on one of them in Tulsa, I think.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, we're starting in Detroit because, yeah, I'll be playing with Strike first in Arizona the day before. But as far as the venues go, I'm just stoked to be touring with the Casualties and Stolen Wheelchairs, you know?
It's pretty unreal.
We could play a parking lot, I'd be stoked.
Well, I'm sure it's going to be killer, you know, like what you were talking about a minute ago, just like with everything being on hold and, you know, not sure what was happening and when. I was talking with another friend of mine yesterday about this. It's like live music is kind of in uncharted waters right now. And it's just such a bizarre place. But I'm glad that we're starting to see some bands announce tours, and, you know, hopefully everything goes according to plan and there's no cancellation or any of that shit. So, but man, congrats to you guys for getting on that tour. And that's going to just mean a lot more exposure for the band.
Yeah, exactly. This next album, we're hoping to really, like, Punching Through Mirrors was, we were really stoked to put that one out. And it was like what we considered like a whole new version of the band from just how far we had started. And this album is like way better than Punching Through Mirrors, just all around.
It's different because we got we're a 5-piece now. Yeah. You know, we got another guitarist in there, so it's different. So
wrote it as a 5.
So we are playing a lot more new stuff off the new album.
On this tour.
Yeah, on this tour. So that's something for people to look forward to.
Very cool. I wanted to ask each of you some individual questions that are just about you. Jordan, you seem to be very active in the gym and working out. Can you tell us a little bit about why that is important to you?
Okay. So
it did change your life.
So as I'm drinking during this whole interview, so a couple years ago, I guess about 4 years ago or so, I got charged for my 3rd DUI, and so I got put into DUI court, and are you familiar with that? Is like drug court? Is that a thing out there? Do they do that?
You know, I'm not personally familiar with it.
That's good.
Some of my best friends are familiar with it in California. I don't live in California anymore. I live in Oklahoma.
I thought I saw that.
Yeah.
So anyway.
But yeah, in California, it's a big deal.
So yeah, so I got put on DUI court. And, you know, I got sober. And during that time, it was a rough time. I was barely getting by working, and that program's rough. They steal everything from you, and you go to jail for every little thing, no matter. I mean, literally my first appearance, I went to jail for 2 weeks because on my drive home, which I had a permit to be driving home, I literally pulled off at the lake, like one left turn into a parking lot on the lake. And when I pulled out, they got me. And they're like, you're not allowed to stop anywhere. And I did 2 weeks for that.
Everyone
just
freaked out.
Just shit like that. I was delivering pizza, you know what I mean? So 2 weeks of not working wasn't okay. shit like that. You know what I mean? Because they were going to get their money. If you didn't pay, you're going back to jail. So my only outlet, really, other than playing music, was to go work out. And yeah, it's like really the only thing that got me through one of the roughest times of my life, besides music. So I realized I'm better when I have goals. So if I continue to have goals, which fitness goals is really kind of a life-changing choice, you know what I mean, to be healthy, because it comes with diet and everything.
Absolutely.
I take it all seriously, and to me, it's fun. So, but it's a never-ending goal, so it keeps me pushing.
Are you?
Because
sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, go ahead. No, that's fine.
I was going to ask. You mentioned the diet side of things. Are you an intermittent faster? Do you do keto? What's your secret to success in that department?
I did intermittent fasting at one point, but I don't know. It's rough. I did 1 meal a day, so I was fasted for 23 hours a day, and that kind of sucked. And I didn't see the results. I didn't see the results I wanted. So for me, it's like a never-ending science project that I'm doing on my body, honestly. But I just eat super clean, just all whole foods, really. And I've learned to enjoy food at certain times. So I eat very simple. I literally eat chicken and potatoes or chicken and veggies all day, every day, with other snacks, healthy whole food snacks in between nuts and fruits, and sometimes like Laurel bars or stuff like that. I eat a lot of eggs. I'm not vegetarian or anything like that, so I eat all the meats and everything like that, but more power to anyone else, you know. I haven't tried those, actually. So
I hate to interrupt you, but I just have to mention this comment that just popped up. This person said, I'm here eating a tater tot casserole right now. With the crying emoji, like so disappointed in themselves.
But I mean, whatever. You do your thing, you know what I mean? That's fine. But I would love that. That sounds fucking amazing. But
let me get a bite.
I'm just gonna eat it like one day out of the month. Right. And I'm gonna pick that day around certain shit. You know what I mean? Like if it's a cheat day or if I want a lot of carbs that day.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just something that I'm into, and I don't even expect people to understand why I'm so into it, but I don't think it could hurt, right?
Definitely not. I think if anything, it's better for your mental health if you're focusing on your physical health. And, you know, like you said, it's like a constant science experiment for you that keeps you mentally engaged and focused on something. And I think that's awesome and super important. Next question is going to be for Jake. You mentioned that you're a dad. Let's talk a little bit about that. How is dad life for you? How old is your kid?
She's 15 months now. She just started walking this month, and she's already running laps around my house. It's grand, man. It's great. I love being a dad. You know, I was terrified at first, of course. I think most dads are. But I was especially terrified because, you know, I was the one who told everyone in the band not to have kids so that we can tour. And here I am. But I love it. I love my daughter with all my heart. Eris Nova, you know, she's a sweetheart. She's nothing but giggles and laughter. and anyone who's met her knows that she's the sweetest. But I'm actually really fortunate because the mother of the child, Ayla, you know, we've been friends for like 7 years, so we have a long history, and she's always been a diehard Rotten Stitches fan, has traveled out of state to see us many times throughout the years. And so she likes to see, you know, the band succeed. And we have a good support system, and we work together really, really well, raising her, co-parenting and everything. And so the band is alive, and we're still thriving. And being a dad has definitely changed my life. You know, I stopped doing hard drugs right when our friend Jesse Press passed away. He was my roommate. And I had made a promise with him like a week before. And this is when my baby mama was pregnant too. And we made a promise together to, you know, get clean. And so I kept that promise since then. And he relapsed the next week and passed away. And so I made it a personal goal on myself to keep that promise, and I have. And it's not just for him, but it's for being the best dad that I can be to my daughter, you know, while still living this life. I just keep it. This is my sanctuary, is my house, you know. I've been living in punk houses my whole life since I was 16. And getting this house was definitely a change, you know. It was a game changer. And I have like baby shit. You guys can't see this, but I have baby shit everywhere in my house right now. This is just my fancy firewall for MTV Cribs.
No, I'm right there with you, man. I'm in the same boat. I've got one that's she just had her 6-month birthday, and I was that same guy telling all the dudes in my band, don't have any fucking kids. Like, we can't tour if you got all these kids, you know. And now I'm just like, wow, this is the most amazing thing ever. Now I know why everybody's about having kids.
Right. It's a little mini you, man.
Yeah,
like,
and the motivation that they provide you to be like that better version of yourself, nothing compares to that, man.
Yeah, and it's definitely given me a focused mind, and got my priorities straight and everything. And we've taken off with the band, done things that we never thought that we'd be doing.
Sure.
Just because our focus is in the right place.
This next question is for both of you. I noticed that you both have quite a good collection of tattoos, and I wanted to ask about the tattoo culture there in Atlanta, and if you have a favorite artist that you guys want to give a shout out to.
Mike Bugenhagen. He works at ABT Tattoo, but it's in McDonough. It's like 30 minutes outside the city, but that's my guy. And I've known him. I met him when I was like 14, but yeah, he's a shit. Go to him.
Shane Suddick. He was the vocalist for DDC, Drink and Destroy Crew. It's an Oi band here in Atlanta, but he is a really good artist. Terminus Hates. Was it Terminus City Tattoo? Goddamn. But yeah, I got my whole chest done from him, and a lot of pieces done from him, and yeah.
But yeah, there are a lot of great tattooers.
Many.
Fuck, I'm brain farting now right now.
Right.
That's how it all
There's a lot of cool. There's a lot of cool shops all around Atlanta. You know, everyone's got tattoos. This is a very artsy city. You know, there's graffiti everywhere. Everyone has tattoos. It's normal here.
How old were you when you got your first one?
Me?
Yeah.
I was, I think, 17, and it was a stick and poke made from a what was it? It was a mechanical toothbrush with a guitar string and like something holding it together, but I got my hands on my first tattoo like a dumbass. Like a dumbass. And so I was fucked from there, you know. I was like, might as well get covered now.
Right. Job killers, man, right off the bat.
Right off the bat.
Yeah. My first was, I was 18. So nothing, no cool story like his. I just went to Mike.
Right on.
He's got a bunch of cool pieces. I got a bunch of stupid tattoos.
I'm going to look for another audience question real quick.
Yeah.
If anybody wants to submit a question, there's a question mark icon there on your screen. Just tap that, and then you can type in your question rather than putting them in the comment section. They get lost there. Babysitters on Acid says, what other punk bands in Atlanta did y'all enjoy through the years?
You said what punk band in Atlanta did we enjoy through the years?
Yep.
Like, what was our favorite local band?
Yeah, I'm assuming that's what they mean, yeah.
That's a good question. There's been a lot that have come and go. I mean, obviously DDC.
Yeah.
DDC Antagonizer's always been great.
Yeah, they've been going for longer than we have, and they're still going strong.
I'll tell you, back when we were younger, and Izzy, she'll remember the Noisy Oisies and the Rotten Apples. Those were like, those are our fucking.
When we were kids going to
shows,
they were killing.
They were doing the garage shows and shit that we could catch every once in a while and shit. The first show I ever went to was the Casualties and Wednesday Night Heroes, like 2005 or something like that. And Noisy Oisies opened up, and fucking, yeah, I don't know. I remember I always think about them when I think about the old Atlanta punk scene. You got like the Breaks. They've always been great.
The Aggravated.
Yeah, the Aggravated, really good.
There's a good band that stopped playing right when we started, June Youth, and they're still playing in different bands. They were really good. They moved here from Denver a while ago, years ago. They were really good.
What's one band that if you could only pick one band to play with or tour with, who would it be?
Yeah, we've gotten to play with like almost all of our favorite bands, but
to tour with, I think we're doing it in 2 weeks.
I think we're doing it right now. We're like making dreams come true this like in 2 weeks.
What's the best show you've ever seen? Not that you've played, but you were just there to watch it. Doesn't have to be a punk show, just any show.
Iron Maiden in like 2019.
Yeah, that epic.
Yeah, dude. I just commented on who Jake shouted out earlier, Shane Suddeth, the old singer of DDC. He said he had an extra ticket, and he said whoever has the best comment gets it. And I just said something funny like, I don't even know. I said I'll be your wingman or something like that, something stupid, and he picked me. And I didn't know where it was, like seating wise. I didn't care. It's going to fucking Iron Maiden. Hell yeah. It was front fucking row pit tickets. So they were like 10 feet from me. It was amazing.
That's awesome. Jake, how about you?
If I had to pick one, I guess it would. I mean, I haven't been to like a big show like that before, like in a stadium show. So, to be honest with you, but I guess the last Fuck You We Rule Fest was 2019.
Yeah,
the last one before COVID. That one was fucking insane. It was awesome.
How about
and the after shows?
How about a band that you'd like to see? Same question, both of you.
One band that's been on my bucket list that I'm hearing recent word of hitting the East Coast, I would love to see and hopefully play with The Exploited. I think that'd be really cool. I've heard rumor that they're about to be over here soon.
Yeah, they've announced like 4 shows, I think, that are on the West Coast, and I believe more dates are coming.
Yeah.
I can't even think right now. A band that I'd really like to see. Now I'm all fucking stoked on Iron Maiden right now that I was just talking about that show. I want to see another Iron Maiden show.
You know, like some of those huge shows, I mean, they're just absolutely unforgettable. I saw Black Sabbath with Dio on vocals when they were calling it Heaven and Hell. They had did like a reunion. And that show just blew my fucking mind. Just the whole vibe was intense. The crowd was amazing. The band was amazing. And Dio's vocals, just forget it. It was insane. But you guys have anything else that you want to promote before we sign off here?
Next album.
Well, we already talked about next album, but no details. But I'll just say West Coast in the year.
Yeah. We can't say much right now, but we're looking at hitting the West Coast by the end of this year.
Word travels, because I've actually already heard about that.
Oh, shit.
So
Awesome.
We'll see what happens with that. Any shout outs to anybody else before we get off of here?
Strike First, my other band. I had to do it.
Where can people?
Yeah, they're doing the
hear first?
What was that?
Where can people hear?
It's Spotify and YouTube, and I believe Apple, iTunes, all that stuff. I believe it's on there. Should be able to find our first album, and we have one release, the title track, up as well from our new album. We're just waiting on those. We're just waiting on vinyl. So vinyl's kind of backed up right now.
Right.
But yeah.
Jake, for you, anybody you want to shout out?
Fucking Atlanta, man. Showing up for us at 40 Fest was really cool. We just felt all the support that has built up in the past 10 years. Like fans that hadn't seen us in years came out to that show, you know, like who else? Bill Johnson for you know, coordinating and helping out as much as he did with 40 Fest was amazing. Like he was chauffeuring all the bands around in his giant monster truck and having a grand time. We all had a really good time. Yeah, and that's about it, I guess.
I'm going to do one last audience question. Let me pull this up here. Chicano Punk ACAB says, is the scene heavy in the South and Havoc tour? That's a 2-part question. That first one's going to be for you guys. Is the scene heavy in the South? I'm not exactly sure what he means by heavy, but I'm assuming lots of punks.
Yeah. Well, so that is something that we were thinking about talking about was, you know, when we started the band, there wasn't very many punks around, and it has definitely built. And since we've been playing shows, there's a lot of people now. Like we were just looking at each other at 40 Fest, and we were like, dude, we made this shit happen. And we remember that? We were like, You did.
Yes. But yeah, no, the South is growing for sure. Like Florida's doing awesome. The Horribles are out there. Mosquito Teeth. Those guys are awesome. There's a shout out for Mosquito Teeth.
Yeah. Horribles.
But yeah, no, I think the South is building up pretty big right now, and I think 40 Fest was a very good proof of that.
It's definitely what we had hoped for and more.
To answer his question about Havoc Tour, I have no clue right now. We're finishing our new record, and that's what our focus is. Anything beyond that, we're not really too concerned with. Although there are some show dates that will be popping up, and we're going to be announcing that probably in the next month or two. But nothing about a tour just yet. One last thing before we sign off. Where can people find the list of dates for the upcoming tour with the Casualties and Stolen Wheelchairs? And is there, you said there's more dates being announced. Do you have an idea of when all of the dates will be announced, or are they going to be adding dates while the tour is happening?
No, the dates are up. The dates are up.
Yeah, the dates are up. The venues are announced. It's just a matter of social media putting it up in time.
But you can find it all over Rotten Stitches page. You can find it both of our pages. Mine is Rotten_Stitch 666. What's yours?
Nasty Stitches.
I mean, the Casualties are posting about it every day. The Stolen Wheelchairs are posting about it every day. So, Facebook.
It's being plastered every day. The Casualties Instagram, all over Instagram and Facebook. It's being put out there.
Awesome. Well, you guys stay safe out there on the road. Have a kick-ass tour. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. Looking forward to meeting you guys in person sometime in the near future. And anything else?
I mean, I guess as we always say, you know, if you're going through any kind of shit and you need to reach out, like, message us, you know, find us on social media and message us. We'll talk to you. We've been there. We've been through it. Some of us may still be going through it, whether we know it or not. So
Ron Stitch's biggest message is mental health awareness, and we've lost friends very close to us. I know everyone has lost a lot of friends, and it's really dark and hard times right now. And if we can do anything to help, we can. Our goal is just to hope that our music can help people out when they need it.
So come have fun and hit each other at our shows.
Get your pissed off aggression out at our shows.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, guys, for being my guest. And for everybody watching, if you're not following Rotten Stitches yet on Instagram, go do that, as well as Facebook or whatever social media profiles that they're on, that you're on. And get out there and support these guys while they're on the road. Pick up some merch. Every little penny counts when you're on the road, and whatever extra they make, I'm sure is going to go straight into the new record. So get out there and support, guys. Once again, Rotten Stitches, thank you so much for being here, and we'll talk to you guys later.
All right. Okay.
Before we sign off officially, Mike Virus will be my guest next Wednesday, February 2nd. Mike Virus is original vocalist of The Virus, founder of Cheap Sex and Evacuate. They've got a lot of shows coming up later this year, and we're going to talk about that. Everything that is on the agenda for Cheap Sex this year. So, again, next Wednesday at 2:30 Pacific time, Mike Virus. Tomorrow, this episode will be up on the Havoc's YouTube channel. So if you missed it here live, you can watch it on our Instagram channel, or you can watch it on YouTube anytime. And before I sign off here, I just want to take the time to invite a very special guest. It's a surprise, and nobody knows that this guest is here. It's Mary Jane. Say hi, everybody. Until next time, Punk Rock Talk. Again, this has been sponsored by Dead and Buried Inc. That's Dead and Buried Inc. INC, not INK. If your band needs merchandise, look them up on Instagram. They have their own website. They are there to print all of your merchandise needs. Thanks again to everybody that tuned in. One last shout out for Atlanta, Hate City. Very grateful for your scene and being a part of this live stream. We'll see you next time.